Sullivan should be on every theatre buff's bucket list. One of the most celebrated theatrical partnerships of all time, they collaborated on 14 operettas in the Victorian era. W.S. Gilbert was the witty wordsmith and master of topsy-turvydom. Arthur Sullivan, the musical genius that brought operatic life to the stories. The pair found fame and fortune through their highly successful partnership, though it was not always straightforward, and famously ended because of an argument over who should pay for a new carpet at Doylecart's Savoy Theatre. Despite this, their legacy lives on, and the operettas continue to be performed throughout the world and enjoyed by everyone. Here's our very quick guide to each of them.
Little maid of Arcady sat on cousin Robin.
I'm going to tell you about the first Gilbert and Sullivan collaboration, Thespis, written as a Christmas burlesque entertainment. Unfortunately, it's a show you're unlikely to see, as the music has long since been lost. The story centres around Thespis, the father of Greek drama, and his acting troupe, who trade places with the old and forgotten gods on Mount Olympus to allow them to go down to earth to mingle with their subjects. The actors, however, are extremely unsuitable for their role and also take a very liberal attitude to the whole situation, causing a lot of romantic confusion regarding who is married to whom. The gods on their return are extremely angry regarding the chaos and accuse Thespis of having deranged the whole scheme of society.
All thieves who could my fees afford relied on my orations, and many a burglar I've restored to his friends and his relations. In 1875, a fellow could be sued for breach of promise for not marrying his betrothed, and if a chap wished to avoid scandal, well, some girls could cash in. Not saying that's Angelina. From bias free, this trial must be tried.
Oh, listen to the plaintiff's case. Observe the features of her face. The broken-hearted blind, condole with her distress of mind. From bias free of every kind, this trial must be tried.
From bias free of every kind, this trial must be tried.
So, Edwin has a new love. Well, as he says, when you're tired of beef, you tackle the lamb. That was me once. Bit of a rover, you know, but that's all in the past. He pleads his case, but those bridesmaids are stunning and the jurymen are besotted. As for Angelina, well, I've never seen such fair a face, and when she came to sit on my knee... He would marry both, but it seems it's a crime to have two wives. So, nice dilemma. I'll marry her myself.
Oh, joy unbounded with wealth surrounded, and endless sounded of brave and woe. In love devoted, on you he's doted, to cause so moted, away they go.
She's delighted. I'm rich. Would she sue me? Oh, heck, it'd be worth it. Oh.
The Sorcerer begins with all the people in the village of Ploverley celebrating the engagement of Alexis, the son and heir of Sir Marmaduke Poindexter, to Aline, the only maiden of suitable rank and class in the neighbourhood, and the daughter of Lady Sangazur, who was the one-time love of Sir Marmaduke.
I'm your servant, most attentive, most attentive. Come on. Why, with adoration, there's some kind of fascination to indulge. Lamentation or occasion do I miss.
Alexis is an idealist and is convinced that love should level all classes of society.
Give me the love that loves for love alone. I love that love, I love it only.
To prove his theory, he employs the aid of a sorcerer.
My name is John Wellington Wells. I'm a dealer of magic and spells, in blessings and curses, and ever fill purses in prophecies, witches and knells.
To secretly mix up a love potion to put into the pot of tea brewed and served by the vicar for the villagers at the celebration of the engagement. After the villagers drink the tea, they all fall into a deep sleep.
What is this strange confusion that fills my aching eyes, that fills my eyes?
At midnight, they awake, and all of the unmarried people fall deeply in love with the first person they see, with disastrous results.
If you marry me, I'll dig for you and rape for you.
You marry me, I'll scrap for you and bake for you.
If you marry me, all others I'll forsake for you. All this will I do if you marry me.
When Aline falls head over heels in love with the vicar, Alexis, who didn't drink the potion, regrets his actions and pleads with the sorcerer to reverse the spell. But Wells reveals that to do that, either he or Alexis must die. When the villagers are given the choice, they are adamant that Wells must die.
Die thou art the cause of all offending.
And so he disappears at the sound of a gong and a flash of flames. Everything returns to normal with general rejoicing.
The rollicking bun, and the case having none of the strawberry jam. Bun, bun, oh, the strawberry jam. Jam, jam, oh, rollicking bun. We sail the ocean blue, and still see ships of beauty, with sober men.
Even if you haven't seen HMS Pinafore before, you'll probably have heard it quoted. It's one of the most frequently performed GNS operettas, probably because of its wonderful and light, hummable melodies, its story of forbidden romance, and the rise of the underdog. The feisty captain's daughter, Josephine, has fallen for a lowly sailor, Rafe Rackstraw, but father wants her to marry Sir Joseph Porter, a very important man with a large entourage of sisters, cousins and aunts who gaily trip and lightly skip around the ship. She goes along with it at first, but when Sir Joseph tells her love levels all ranks, she is convinced that she can marry Rafe. They plan to elope, but are scuppered by the sneaky Dick Deadeye, who tells the captain what they're up to.
Pretty daughter of mine, I insist upon knowing where you may be going with these sons of the brides.
Buttercup, who we see in Act 1 selling her wares to the sailors, gets her big moment now, and she reveals, spoiler alert, that when she was young and charming and baby farming, she switched the captain and Rafe. So hooray! Another textbook happy ending, with everyone marrying the love of their life, and all going off and dancing and singing to "O joy, O rapture unforeseen."
Pour the pirate's cherry, fill the pirate glass.
Climbing over rocky mountains, skipping rivulets and fountain, passing where the willows quiver. On the Cornish coast, in Queen Victoria's reign, Frederick has joined the pirates by mistake. Saying goodbye to the Pirate King and Ruth, he goes ashore believing his apprenticeship is complete. On a beach, he meets the Stanley sisters and falls for Mabel.
Wandering one, though thou hast surely strayed.
The other pirates turn up and fancy all the other sisters, not knowing that their father is a model of a modern Major General.
He claims to be an orphan and becomes a member of their gang.
You may go, for you're at liberty. Our pirate rules protect you, and honorary members of our band, we do elect you. For he is an orphan boy.
He is hurrah for the orphan boy.
And it sometimes is a useful thing to be an orphan boy.
It is hurrah for the orphan boy, hurrah for the orphan boy.
The Major General then asks the police to arrest the pirates. Frederick discovers that his apprenticeship is not complete because he was born on the 29th of February and only has a birthday every 4 years, technically.
I am a little boy of 4. He is a little boy of 5.
But Mabel agrees to wait for him. The pirates discover the Major General has lied and plan to burgle his house with cats-like tread. The Major General is riddled with guilt and his daughters beg for mercy.
Is he to die unshriven and annealed? Will no one in his cause a weapon wield?
The police turn up and the pirates give up as they are all noblemen who have gone wrong. The Major General then agrees his daughters can marry the pirates.
Long is ago, 14 may be, when but a tiny babe of 4.
A satire on the aesthetic movement of the time. At Castle Bunthorne, all the young ladies love Bunthorne, a poet, but he loves Patience, a simple milkmaid. Plain old Lady Jane tells Patience this, but Patience confesses she has never loved anyone. Enter the dragoons, led by the Duke.
The soldiers of the Queen are linked in friendly tether. Upon the battle scene they fight the foe together.
But they are sent packing by the young ladies. Bunthorne then confesses he doesn't actually like poetry, and Patience promises to fall in love, which she promptly does with her childhood sweetheart, Archie. But they decide he is too perfect to love and so part.
All the world of glory, all the one adoring,
Lovesick Bunthorne decides to raffle himself to the young ladies, but then Archie returns and the young ladies ditch Bunthorne for Archie. Meanwhile, as Archie's no longer perfect, Patience feels she can marry him after all. All the young ladies pick bows from the dragoons. The Duke picks Lady Jane, and only Bunthorne is left alone.
A case unprecedented, single I must live and die. I shall have to be contented with the tulip all alive.
He will have to be contented with the tulip all alive.
We are dainty little fairies, ever singing, ever dancing.
So, this fairy called Iolanthe marries a mortal and gets banished from fairyland till the mates persuade the fairy queen to let her back. Iolanthe has a son, Strephon, who's half a fairy. Strephon wants to marry Phyllis, whose guardian is the Lord Chancellor, who, by the way, fancies her for himself. Phyllis catches Strephon talking to his mum, who, being a fairy, looks about 16. And so she breaks it off.
Oh, shameless one, tremble, nay, do not endeavour thy thoughts to dissemble. We part and forever. I worshipped him blindly, he worships another.
Attend to me kindly, this lady's my mother.
This lady's his what?
This lady's my mother.
All the peers in the House of Lords fancied Phyllis, and two of them very nearly fight over her. The fairy queen gets annoyed and magically makes Strephon a leader of both parties.
Streppon's a member of Parliament, crown and work of all abuses, his and worldly finest, and somehow nobody now refuses.
This just makes him miserable as he pines for Phyllis. Meanwhile, the fairies have got to know the peers and fallen in love with them en masse. Trouble is, it's against fairy law to marry a mortal, so they change the law. Iolanthe reveals to the Lord Chancellor that she is in fact his long-lost wife, and Strephon is his son.
I am thy wife.
Phyllis realises it was all a mistake and goes back to Strephon. Everyone's happy and they all have a lovely sing-song as they flounce off to fairyland together.
Oh, God is wise, that lovest light, and thou with sight their unillumined eyes. Something pretty extreme must have happened to Ida that made her want to spurn the world and devote her life to the study of philosophy. True, her father, King Gama, was a highly disagreeable man, though he can't think why, and her brothers macho idiots without a brain between them.
Not intelligent. No, 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 not intelligent.
It is little wonder that she refers to men as nature's one mistake. She was betrothed to a man twice her age, which could have been a recipe for disaster, but Hilarion was only 2 when they married, and he kept out of her way for 20 years until he came to reclaim his bride. The 100-strong women-only university that won't even allow chessmen within its walls is infiltrated by Hilarion and his friends, charmingly disguised as women.
Whom thou hast chained must wear his chain, thou canst not set him free. Who wrestles with his bonds in vain, who lives by loving thee.
When Ida finds out, she calls her women to arms, but finds that not only are they frightened young maidens who won't pick up their rifles for fear that they might go off, but also they are rather taken by the glorious differences found in men. They begin to realise that the utopian dream of life without men would soon flounder as the human race died out. Princess Ida yields to Hilarion.
Hilarion, I have been wrong. I see my error now. Together we will run naughtily through wheat fields. Indeed, I love thee, Hilarion.
And balance is happily restored.
If you want to know who we are gentlemen of Japan. My object all sublime, I shall achieve in time, to let the punishment fit the crime, the punishment fit the crime.
A year ago, Nanki Poo, who is the Mikado's son, met Yum Yum and fell in love with her. But she is engaged to her guardian Coco, the Lord High Executioner.
The Lord High Executioner, of the select your noble rank and title, a dignified and potent officer, whose functions are particularly vital.
When Nanki Poo threatens to kill himself because he can't live without her, and Coco receives a message from the Mikado demanding an immediate execution, Coco persuades Nanki Poo to be the victim, on condition that Nanki Poo can marry Yum Yum beforehand.
The threatened cloud has passed away. The night may come too soon.
They all agree when Katisha, an older woman, who the Mikado has promised can marry Nanki Poo, arrives to expose him.
No minstrel he, despite bravado. Ha ha! I know he is the son of your.
On hearing news that the Mikado will visit, Coco bribes the town official Pooh Bah to swear that Nanki Poo has already been beheaded, and tells the lovebirds to elope to keep it quiet. The Mikado arrives and finds his son's name on the execution warrant.
I forget the punishment of accomplishing the death of the heir apparent.
He immediately sentences the culprits to death, and the only way that Nanki Poo can safely come to life again is for Katisha to be married to someone else. So Coco obliges.
Now I feel just as sure that I'm sure that my name isn't Willow, Tin Willow, Tin Willow. But my difficulty is that as you have slain the heir to the throne of Japan...
The heir to the throne of Japan is not slain.
Bless my heart, my son.
And your daughter-in-law elected.
She really carols a lark over the court. Merrily whistles the clock, scratching a block. Basingstoke, Margaret, Basingstoke. You married me? I am Margaret Murgatroyd. My hair is combed, my face is washed, and I am not mad. Turns out Creepy Robin was a real Lord of Ruddigore.
I once was as meek as a newborn lamb. I'm now the Murgatroyd.
There was ghosts, a spooky ghost, and singing ghosts, and anyway, it seems that if you refuse to do a crime every day, then you commit suicide, and that is a crime, and therefore the curse was overthrown, and we all lived happily ever after, including Sweet Rose Bay Bud and Creepy Robin and all the ghosts.
Rose, when you believed I was a simple farmer, I believe you loved me.
Madly, passionately.
But when I became a bad baronet, you very properly loved Richard instead.
Passionately, madly.
But if I should turn out to not be a bad baronet, after all, how would you love me then?
Madly, passionately.
As before?
Why, of course.
My darling.
Strange adventure, maiden wedded to a room she never seen.
I have a song to sing.
Would you marry someone you'd never seen in exchange for 100 crowns? Well, that's what I went and did, and no end of grief it caused me. They said Fairfax would be beheaded in the hour, but then he went and escaped.
My lord, I know not how to tell the news I bear. I and my comrades sought the prisoner's cell. He is not there.
I'm thinking, I'm now stuck with a convict for a husband. It was all too much, and I fainted into the arms of the handsome warder, Leonard Merrill. It was love at first sight. My performing partner, Jack Point, was annoyed. It seems he was hoping to marry me himself. So he went and hatched a plot with that seedy jailer, Wilfred, who told everyone that he'd shot Fairfax.
With an ounce or two of lead, I dispatched him through the head.
With an ounce or two of lead, he dispatched him through the head.
I discharged it without winking. Little time I lost in thinking. Like a stone I saw him sinking.
I should say a lump of lead.
So now I'm a widow. I'm free to marry Leonard.
Happy days of doing, all the sighing and the suing, where the rumor goes of wooing, and the seats that never close.
There I am, all dressed up for my wedding, when that lieutenant comes along and declares that Fairfax lives after all. I fell to my knees, calling for Leonard.
My bruised heart, my broken heart is thine, my own
Then I looked up and saw Fairfax standing in front of me. Only it was Leonard, who was really Fairfax in disguise all this time. Poor old Jack was heartbroken. Well, serves him right for agreeing to sell me off in the first place, if you ask me.
We're called Gondolieri, but that's a vagary. To men of verse and Clara, he always showed the way. That very good boy, Eastbourne, had a little trouble.
two handsome Venetian gondoliers marry two beautiful maidens by winning them in a game of blind man's buff, as you do.
To me, Ginetta fate has granted just the very girl I wanted.
Did you know that gondoliers are amongst the most well-paid workers in Venice? A dodgy Don then appears and announces that one of them is actually a king, but he doesn't know which. An entrepreneurial but bankrupt Duke and Duchess arrive with their daughter, who was married to said king as a baby, but she loves the Duke's valet. The Don sends the gondoliers to an island without their wives, where they meet the prospective new wife and her parents. It doesn't go well. The gondolier's ancient nursery maid finally arrives and confesses that, following an inordinate amount of baby swapping many years ago, the real king is in fact the Duke's valet. So the daughter marries the valet, the true love of her life. The two new brides get their husbands back, and they all live happily ever after.
King Paramount of the South Pacific Island Kingdom of Utopia is a firm believer in the might and right of England, and 5 years ago sent his eldest daughter, the Princess Zara, to be educated at Girton College. She returns from England, bringing with her 6 eminent gentlemen, the flowers of progress, to teach Utopians how to make their country as great and glorious as England.
Our city we have beautified, we've done it willy-nilly, and all that isn't Belgrave Square, Strand or Piccadilly, we haven't any slumberings in England.
But something doesn't seem right. The Utopians are unhappy and demand the removal of the flowers of progress. Zara realises that she has forgotten the most essential element of British civilization, government by party. Under the two-party system, no progress will be made. A happy result for everyone. Paramount announces that Utopia will change from a monarchy limited to the much better limited monarchy. Everyone is overjoyed, and the curtain falls as the people sing their praises of a little group of isles beyond the wave. In other words, Great Britain.
We'll devote our future life to epicurism, and with all this tropic island can provide, we will make a fortune based on tourism.
The 14th and final GNS project was a financial flop at the time and doesn't often get performed these days, despite having a song about sausage rolls.
By the mystic regulation of a dark association, where you open conversation with another kingly thought, you must eat a sausage roll. You must eat a sausage roll, a sausage roll.
Like many of the operettas, it pokes fun at the wealthy classes, in this case a Grand Duke who is disliked by the local theatre company and they're plotting against him. The notoriously twisty plot unfolds something like this. The Duke is getting married but finds out he was betrothed in infancy to the Princess of Monte Carlo. The actors trick the Duke out of the Grand Duchy by rigging a statutory duel using playing cards, which means he is declared legally dead and put comic actor Ludwig in his place. Leading lady Julia Jellicoe insists that she should play the role of Grand Duchess. Ludwig's fiancée Lisa is not impressed. The previous Duke's wife, the Baroness, throws a spanner in the work and demands that Ludwig marry her, but is then trumped by the Princess of Monte Carlo, who's arrived to claim her betrothed the Grand Duke, who is now Ludwig. Rudolph and Ernest arrive back just in time, revealing a legal loophole, ensuring a happy ending all round.
We hope you enjoyed our beginner's guide to Gilbert and Sullivan. Please leave a comment and a like if you did. The Society's mission is to keep this great British tradition alive, and we do this through our productions, events and online content. If you're local to Eastbourne, it would be wonderful to see you in the audience at one of our upcoming productions. Or, better still, why don't you join us on stage. To find out more details about future productions or joining the society, please visit eastbourne.com. Look forward to seeing you. Cheerio.
3 little maids from school are we.